All right, good morning. Last trading day of the year. It is Tuesday, December 31st. We're taking a look at NASDAQ. We're taking a look at NQ here. Definitely expecting another slower session here. Yesterday we had a couple of decent setups, but overall, like I had mentioned, if you were in that live stream, thought the action was a bit unfavorable, at least early on in the morning. Today's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream. We'll probably go for about an hour or so. Got some New Year's Eve items to take care of. As far as what I'm going to be looking at off the open, let's kind of recap this near term structure. So, yesterday's action, we're looking at 21,430 off the open. We want to see if buyers have any interest in holding that level. No interest whatsoever, right? Price flushes that 430. You have a retest right through there, and it just rolls over into 21,300. Now, this is where buyers start to show some interest again. You have a little bit of kind of a late morning base building out there near that 21,300, and we see the bounce into 21,550, which is right near Friday's low. So looking at just the past couple of sessions, we still have this kind of series of lower highs on the 15 and 30-minute charts. What I'm most interested in seeing for this morning is whether or not buyers are able to break up through 21,550, up through that prior day high, or if sellers are going to try and kind of force this into another lower high right here at last week's low and flush through that 21,430 yet again. Now, it is only early Tuesday, but one of the things that buyers have going for them at this point is the fact that so far weekly volume point of control is down here, and price is currently trading above that level, which can suggest that this action down here is accumulation. Now, it is still very early in the week, right? So let's see how we open up, what we're looking at off the open, how that volume is looking. Current session volume point of control, including all that overnight action, is right here at 21,480. So nearest reference point is last week's low. We can see how well that's been respected in the overnight session. That's 21,477. You've got VWAP down here as well, and that 21,430 level of interest. Like I said, I'm most interested in seeing whether or not buyers can push up through this area. So break of the overnight high would be significant. Look how well that prior day volume point of control is holding as resistance. Backdrop is currently neutral. So let's see how this open looks and what we have to work with here. No rush today. We want to keep an eye on volume, could be low volume. So got the open here in a couple seconds. Let's see what we're working with. Okay, so price into that session volume point of control, VWAP holding again there initially. We do have a very slight gap higher, though price is still within that prior day's range. So again, look how well that last week low as a reference point was respected yesterday. Right, and we see it respected during the overnight sesh as well. Those prior week edge points can serve as decent reference points. So 477 rejected there. 475 area. NQ into the session low. Keeping an eye on that opening 5-minute bar per usual. Staying patient here right off the open, letting that intraday structure build out. Let it build. Let it build. There's your new low of day for NQ. Coming into 430. 430 level of interest. The session volume point of control did step down a little bit there, about 10 points. And NQ right into the highs. 430 holding as support. Gotta love those levels of interest. Still cash personally. Opening 5-minute bar closed as a doji, so no direction there. NQ still just chopping around this session volume point of control. Taking a look at the other indices here. Looks like no real direction across the board so far. So let that intraday structure build. Let it build. Don't believe we have any economic data for today either. Here's NQ into session lows. New low of day being made there on NASDAQ. So if 430 fails to hold, NQ down through 430 now. That small overnight gap fills at 388. 21,388 is where sellers will be targeting here. There's that visual. 388 prior day close. And then from there, you're looking at the overnight low, 340, 343. There's that small overnight gap is filled right there. NQ into 385. So your next reference point is that overnight low. Overnight low down there at 343. For me, this is all no man's land, so just staying patient here. Don't place trades in no man's land. Yes, sir, Dom. No level, no trade. Simple as that. Simple as. Simple as. So here's that weekly volume point of control. At this point, I'll be looking at either reclaim a 430 with market structure, or I'll monitor that reaction into overnight low and then the 300 level of interest. One of these areas. Session volume point of control just stepped down into 21,397. So you have that volume void right through here. You can see how quickly that filled once price started to get into that area. Some overnight support through here, 370, just as an observation. There's your new low of day. New lows on the sesh. Let's take a look at the other indices. Yeah, ES cracking lower. Same with YM. Looks like Russell's trying to bounce. Volume's definitely a bit low there. Still above minimum threshold, but just keeping a very close eye on that. Some indecision here near that session volume point of control, that high volume node from the overnight. That overnight action there. See if we could get a retest into 430 and what that's going to be looking like. There's your intraday fib. So that 50% for this morning's move so far is right there at 430. This little push there. Man, let's see how this 430 is going to be treated. So far, buyers finding some interest in that weekly time frame volume point of control that we talked about before the bell. It's that blue line over here on the 15-minute chart. NQ getting back into 430. You got VWAP overhead. VWAP currently 438. So we'll see if sellers reload here in this area or not, if you get some sort of higher low to work with. Keep an eye on that volume. Getting closer and closer to that minimum threshold. Pretty nice bounce so far. See that overnight gap fill, small overnight gap. Natural target for sellers. And then that weekly volume point of control continues to give us some clues that that action is accumulation. Yes, sir. 10 till 10, no data. Not that I know of, anyway. Not that I saw. No data. Sellers stepping in there. 430 remains on watch. 430. NQ getting back into that session volume point of control right near 400. So sellers want to see this as a lower high with price retesting that session low. Buyers stepping in there again versus session volume point of control. A higher low right here would definitely be significant for this intraday structure. Tricky spot here. Tricky. So price bounces right there, session volume point of control, and sellers reload at 430. That's that level of interest. It's also your 50% fib for today's move so far. And 4 minutes till 10 a.m. No data to worry about. NQ getting back into 430 here. Location's kind of tough on this current setup. So patience is good. It's New Year's Eve. Favorite scenario for me right now is action above 430 with market structure. Do see buyers attempting to build out some sort of higher low here near that session volume point of control, which also pretty much aligns with that weekly time frame volume point of control and some pre-market structure there as well. But given the proximity to that level of interest and VWAP, preference for me is to stay patient, let that structure continue to build out. Don't need to force anything. Volume's already tapering down, so a lot of reasons to be doing less. Okay, so there's your 430 retest into VWAP. 5 minute looking like barcode. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And we did have our first volume print pretty much right at the minimum threshold right there. Again, we want to keep an eye on volume just to help us avoid any choppier action. Market is closed tomorrow, so don't want to get caught in any chop. Better off just being cash. Don't want to force anything. Coming into 10 a.m. here, 30 seconds till 10 a.m. Another print here below minimum volume threshold, just FYI. There's FYI. If you use a tool like that, you may want to keep an eye. All right, 30 minutes into the sesh. 5 minutes starting to show a little bit of barcode. Still no real direction here for NQ. Definitely just coiling. Buyers struggling to really show acceptance above 430 so far. You do have the fib sell zone right there here. You have VWAP and you have the 430 level of interest. So big time fight for price in this area. Waiting for 500 or 300 on NQ. Yeah, I like that sort of game plan. Wait for the current range to break. Wait for price to trade outside of that opening 30-minute bar. Will definitely assist to keep you out of any chop. That's for sure. All right, buyers stepping in now. It's looking better for the intraday structure. Little change of character in the making potentially. NQ back into 430. No real sustained action above that most recent lower high right through there. Look at your 5 minute. Look at that 5 minute. NQ coming right back into that session volume point of control. So, like I said, wanted to see that acceptance above 430. So far, price just chopping within a pretty tight range. 5 minute shows us barcode. A lot of reasons to be staying cash. There's your session volume point of control. Yeah, I'll definitely be looking at the reaction into 300 if price gets there. See what it looks like. We shall see. All depends on how responsive buyers are in that area. Here's an NQ into session lows. See if a new low of day is going to be made. There's your new low of day. So next downside reference point is that overnight low. Assuming sellers are able to show some acceptance through the low here. And your overnight low is 343.5. 343.5 on NQ. Looks like you got ES making a session low as well. Most of the indices into the lows here, with the exception of Russell. RTY doing its own thing. Good old Russell. Mish said always down to long. It's that 5-second chart trader right there. 5-second time frame enjoyer. See how NQ treats this overnight low here. Dom trimming up the short. Nice. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Where'd you get in? Near that 430 failure? Right around here, I would guess. Somewhere in this area. Nice. Nice trade. There's NQ beneath the overnight low, so the 300 level of interest is your next downside level. 300 loy. And I believe we have the prior day low. Yeah, prior day low down at 253. 253. See if buyers can reclaim or not. Decent little push there. See if buyers can break this 378 area. Yeah, volume's not great. Buyers need a break of 378. There's your session volume point of control. Shifting lower. Buyers now looking for a push up through 21,400, and you can see a retest into 430. If you have any longs, you probably want to raise those trails with that most recent high or low. It's going to be a one and done for me. That's an overnight low spring setup. Post 10 a.m. A personal favorite. See if the trail gets taken here. Trim a little more off right there. There we go. You can raise that trail up to 71. Yeah, the distance to 300 is way too far for a risk point. You have to just risk the session low there, Dom. So you need like immediate bounce, pretty much. I didn't love that initial reclaim of the overnight low, which is why my entry's above 50. Wanted a little more confirmation there. But ended up working pretty nice. I'll probably take the rest of this thing off ahead of 430 here. If we could trade 425, I'll let them have it. And just ahead of VWAP. Actually 423. A little more. And because of the proximity to that target, I'll go ahead and raise the trail just beneath 395 here. This will be my only trade today. Little more, come on. Got to raise the trail. We're like 2 points off of the target. So trailing at 406. A little bit more. Come on. Dang, we're like 1 point shy. 1 point. All right, trailed right there. That's it. One and done for the morning. The idea was the overnight low spring setup. Love a good spring. Take a look at that 15-minute. Got all that support through here from the overnight sesh. I like to use the true overnight low. So price undercuts, quick reclaim. Pretty basic stuff here. Stop goes down here under local structure as always. There's that target being hit. I trailed it, but that's all good. It's all good. We still managed to catch, what is that, 355 into 406. Not bad. About 50 points on one trade. NQ into VWAP here. So 430 stays on watch. Volume still above that minimum threshold, but pretty low. Intraday structure still shows a series of lower highs, so you want to be cautious with any longs. And another thing to note here is price is still within prior day's range. Hadn't even left the value area of yesterday's range. So I've got a hard cutoff here in about 8 minutes. I got some other things I've got to take care of for today. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you guys for jumping into the stream. Hope everyone had a great year. Happy New Year to all. We've got a full year of streams coming up. It's going to be a great year. Hope you guys had a good morning. We'll keep it going in the think tank. If you have questions, feel free to reach out there. Otherwise, we'll see you, let's see, Thursday morning. Market is closed tomorrow. So, oh yeah. Good reminder, Benny. Trade 30 for 30 technically starts tomorrow. Though first post will probably be on the 2nd, obviously, because the market is closed tomorrow. If you're in the think tank, it's free to join. You just need to commit to a daily post. I highly, highly, highly recommend joining if you are serious about your trading. If you're not in the think tank, you can sign up just for the Trade 30 for 30. There's a link on the website. 30-day cohort built around trade review to build good trade review habits. Feedback so far has been really strong. A lot of people are loving that. So I'll be in there providing feedback for everyone's trades, answering questions, and occasionally posting as well. But anyway, talk to you guys later. Have a great new year.